Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Southampton, part of the Global Sports Podcast Network. My name is Greg Elliott, and as always, joined by my wonderful co-host, Zach Ingo Finch. How you doing, Zach?
Well, mate, yeah, well, we won a game, so that's a positive.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. Look, it's feeling good. I've not had my weekend ruined. It was right at the end of the weekend anyway, so there was only sort of minimal of it left to ruin. And then at time of recording, later on this evening, I'm going to be staying up late to watch my American football team play in their first playoff game. So let's hope that streak carries on. Some sort of football ruining my weekend, I guess, wouldn't be out of the ordinary. So
No, exactly. That's kind of where I'm at. No, it's very bizarre. Obviously, it's come towards the end of the weekend, which is nice. It was just a very, I don't know, like we'll talk about it, I'm sure, but it was just
watch football this weekend. Enjoyed FA Cup weekend.
Nah, I don't. I know that it's like sacrilegious to be like, I don't really care as much about the FA Cup as I should. I know. I'm a terrible person. I'm not really that bothered. I've seen like a few bit clips and here and there, but I've genuinely had like the first sort of quiet weekend since Christmas that I've had. First, what feels like quiet weekend I've had in forever. So a lot of it was just sort of like dotted around Eastleigh yesterday, doing bits and pieces. Got to watch someone basically shoplift directly in front of the staff at Matalan. That was terrible.
Perfect.
A bunch of other random, really boring chores, and a lot of like sticking video games in between because I know that I've got a very busy work week.
I got proper caught up into it. I've also had like the first quiet weekend since Christmas, which just means that I've sat in front of any one of 4 electrical devices and watched various forms of sport, amongst looking busy and doing housework and stuff. But I really enjoyed the Tamworth game earlier, Tamworth Spurs. Like that is a game that just encapsulates the feel of the FA Cup for me. Like,
what do you mean it took them to extra time to be able to beat this team?
Now that's the upsetting thing, because we've talked a lot about the corporatization of football on this podcast, and the fact that if we were in the proper system for the FA Cup, where they had earned a replay by taking it to 0-0, they would have doubled their club's revenue for the year. It's just mad.
Yeah, but like again, it's the whole no one really cares about the FA Cup other than that kind of aspect.
Other than small teams.
I feel like they should just give them.
I just don't think that's true though. Like I've been so caught up FA Cup fever all weekend. It's been all over my socials. People are loving it. I think you're doing it a misjustice. But speaking of people not caring about the FA Cup, we had maybe 7,000 in attendance at St Mary's today.
I don't know what the final numbers were, but I know I've seen numbers knocking around that apparently it's potentially like the lowest that we've had since we've had St Mary's or something like that.
Yeah,
but again, it's difficult. I was looking for stats for it for ages, but couldn't find any. But either way, it looked empty, and it is. Yeah, people are voting on their feet, and there will be people, probably a portion of the fan base, were like, "Well, look, see, if you'd gone, you'd have been able to see us win a game." It's like, yeah, sure, you're right, against Swansea.
Well, let's get into the match. So let's start at the start with the team lineups. There was some head scratching between the two of us when we saw the team lineup. What was
there's still head scratching now? Well, the fact that we didn't play with an out-and-out striker was bizarre. The last time we did that, it lasted all of 30 minutes at Bournemouth before we already were like 2-0 down. So, Jurek Ball is different to Martin Ball. That is for sure. But it seemed like a strange decision. And I still think it's a strange decision just because, like, it paid off. And ironically, the players that were in that position scored more the goals than the strikers we later brought on. I don't know how I feel, but yeah, I still don't really know how we lined up. I kept trying to figure out the formation. I was checking on BBC Sport. They kept switching it around constantly.
I think we had a 3 at the back with Bree, Harwood Bellis, and Bednarek as our centre backs. Manning and Walker Peters as wing backs. And then it was kind of like Les was the holding midfielder, but Aribo was playing like only slightly in front of him, and then we were kind of playing a front three with Fernandez through the middle, Dibling on the right, and Sulemana on the left. So Fernandez was like a false 9-10 role, and it was
so actually what you mean
weird.
is 3 and then
Yeah.
2 on the sides and then 1-1-1-1-1 and then 2.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's kind of how it worked, right? Like, admittedly, it's probably partly due to us playing well, Swansea playing extremely poorly, and
Well, I mean, let's call a spade, right? We should be comfortably winning this game, and we comfortably
but this
won this game.
season.
But even in this season, I mean, Swansea are a bang average championship team anyway. They were without several of their defenders. They rotated some of the rest of the squad as best they could because they've got a big game in the week. I mean, if we hadn't have beat them, it would have been a disgrace, frankly.
We lost 2-1 to Grimsby Town like 2 years ago, mate. We were in the Prem then.
Pompey beat Swansea 5-0 2 weeks ago.
4. That's why I predicted 5, because I wanted us to get that one extra goal.
Like, they are a team that we should be beating every single day of the week, and we did, and we comfortably beat them, and it's fine. But you can only play what's in front of you. But let's not get overhyped about finally getting a win. But let's hope that it does provide the players with confidence and the feeling that knowing how to win.
But if it means that Sulemana is going to go out in the Premier League and start firing in goals, I'm fine with that. Like, I genuinely don't mind. Like, everyone was a little bit baffled. I've seen people go on like Twitter, people making Sulemana apology letters to send in with tick boxes for the various different reasons as to why they were cross. But also,
carried away.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Let's not get carried away. Like, Dibling literally is post-match interview.
The main difference for Sulemana was that he tried today. That was genuinely, as far as I could tell, the main difference. He ran quite fast sometimes. I
feel, and judging by Jurik's comments, I feel like Jurik basically has played him in the league and he's done bad. So he went, you've got an opportunity in the FA Cup, and if you don't prove yourself in this game, I'm probably not going to let you play in the league anymore. It's either that, or the cynic in me says, it's currently shop window time. All it takes is a scout to watch that game and go, wow, actually, this Sulemana fella is really good. And someone buys him for, I don't know, we'll probably take like 5 million from at this rate. So
I think you and I both scoffed at some of the commentary where they were like, "Oh, Southampton showing they're a team with quality through and through." I'm like, that is not someone who's sat and carries the rest of the season.
Attacking threat was like the funniest thing to me. Well, they know they've got attacking threat. I'm like, where? Can you point out for me, please? And I know, like, we're making this joke after winning by 3 goals, but like, one of the goals, Sulemana's goal was basically accidental, but I'm sure we'll talk about that when we talk about the first half after a word from our partners at Zencastr.
Yeah, so here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform, and Zencastr came out the clear winner. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs, it's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description and learn more about Zencastr. Okay, yeah, so let's get to the game. Not a lot happened until the goal, really. We had some attacks. Ironically, I feel like I blessed this with the commentator's curse because the kick out from Ramsdale directly before this happened, I went, why are we bothering kicking it long when we haven't got anyone up there who can win the ball? Ugo Chukwu and Aribo are both back in our own half. And then the ball comes to Ramsdale's feet. He absolutely smashes it up. Ugo Chukwu's first to the ball with a knock-on. And then Campbell Dean chips a keeper who was gone for a hot dog.
Let's not disrespect the goal, but I don't think he meant that. It just doesn't look like he meant that at all. However, it was very much reminiscent of, I can't remember which game it was, where like McCarthy came out so far and then somebody scored, and we were like, what is wrong with you? And like
Liverpool when it was Salah.
Yeah, and their keeper had a bit of a howler, and you could tell that by all of the chanting that progressively got louder and louder. And even my wife was sat on the sofa laughing at like you beep, 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 as that just got louder and louder and louder.
Very excited children in my living room chanting along with the TV. So
I bet, and but then part of that also comes from the fact that we actually just kept pressing the keeper, and he kept bottle jobbing it, and But then let's not.
Well, more specifically, like when he was on the ball in open play, we weren't pressing him. We were just letting him make that mistake time and time again, and it worked this time.
Yeah.
Not like Brentford, where like he managed to find a pass every time. Like every single time, it was going to a Saints player or it was going out for a throw, and you could see he was visibly getting more and more frustrated as the game went on.
It was kind of just like kicking a puppy, but we're really happy for everyone that did, and we're like, yay, we won. And I'll take it. Like, again, we needed the win probably desperately more than Swansea needed it. And as you said, we theoretically on paper should be winning these games.
Yeah.
It gives me hope for next season when we're inevitably in the Championship if we keep hold of some of the players we've got. Lallana got 5 minutes today, but the first half obviously not a lot happened, but the second goal, Dibling's goal,
again, Sulemana.
As it was an assist from Sulemana. It was a nice bit of play.
Piece of forward play from Aribo.
Yeah, it was just an actual. It was just like an actual team goal. And as much as it was a tap in, like it was a well worked goal, and it's up to that point, even up to the 20 minutes. The problem is, I said to you, it's the same thing that's happened time and time again. Is that every time the ball gets near the goal, there just doesn't feel like there's a threat coming, and we still had a lot of that.
Or 20 tap-ins the rest of the season if it means we get more than 12 points.
It's got to be better than the sort of. There's a lot of, you can see there's so much hesitation just around the box, and like people who lament Kyle Walker-Peters and don't like him and are like, oh, I can't wait for him to go. Those people are so wrong because he creates.
I think he had
so much
amazing game today. He was just in acres of space every single time, and they had absolutely nothing that could deal with him, and he just looked a threat every time he got on the ball. And then they were so worried about what he was going to do when he was on the ball that they forgot that we had other players who could stick the ball in the net, and that's what counts. And then after, obviously, his first goal, the ball falls to Dibling in the box, and instead of holding on to the ball for too long like he has been known to do, he's now got the confidence to shoot on sight and shoots and it goes in. Like, what can you ask for?
Well, that kind of happened a couple of times. I saw, like, at least Archer had one opportunity where he hung on for far too long and just didn't strike. And again, it's so ironic to me that these forward players, they're not our strikers, but they're forward players. Both got 3 goals today, and then when we replaced both of those with actual out and out strikers, neither of them scored. They got very close.
Armour should have scored that one that went straight.
Armour should have scored that one. Armour should have scored another one. Archer should have scored another. And admittedly, I guess it's like low on confidence. Like, it was lovely to see an interview of Shane Long on the sidelines. I love that man with all of my heart. And I miss him so much. Just an absolute nuisance consistently to defences. A man that would run more than Sulemana somehow every game. It doesn't look like he should.
Well, it's something that we really lack, for sure. Like that will and want to run consistently throughout an entire game. And we've talked about that time and time again on the podcast.
But like he was kind of impressed, and I kind of agree. We put in far more of a shift than we wanted to. We won the game. The message of you charge £22.50 for prices against Swansea on a Sunday, I think, was very clear. I think that backfired. Yeah. I think I had at least another 2 emails yesterday trying to be like, hey guys, did you know it's really cheap to take your kids? I'm like, well, I don't have any kids, but thanks. Like, I feel like, it was, I guess, all round and round, it was a positive for the club and positive for the players and positive in general. But I'm also, the cynic in me is also very aware it's just papered over some cracks.
Like, I mean, we made mistakes too. There were times where any better team would have punished us. I think they even hit the post at one point.
They did. That was Ramsdale rolled it out to Smallbone, who was unaware, who tried to kick it away, kicked it directly to a Swansea player. And had that been a Liverpool, that's like, that's they've scored and then our heads drop and they score another 3 and then that's game over. So that's the problem. I think is. I think we've discussed it before, but like the mental fragility of us to collapse at the first instance of there being something that went wrong. Your prediction was wrong because you said 3-1, but you said there's no way we can keep a clean sheet, and we somehow did, which was lovely.
Yeah, well, I can tell you how we did, and it is that they had one shot on target, and as is slowly becoming the tagline of this podcast. If you don't kick the ball at the goal, you can't win.
Oh, that's so right. But like, yeah, it was a positive thing. But yeah, I do worry that. I guess I shouldn't try and be negative about it. It's a positive win. It's a positive for the club. It's good. It's something to look forward to.
The
A
good
cup
news
run might be
is
nice.
we know that championship opposition is our level, and that's what we've got next coming up against Man United. So,
oh mate, that's harsh on them. They managed to beat Arsenal today, just
on
about
penalties, yeah,
with 10 men.
yeah.
Yeah, but I also wouldn't be surprised if we go and they dismantle us 5-0. Brentford hadn't won away from home forever. So yeah, it's I guess it's. Don't get me wrong. I don't want everyone to be sad, and I know that. I know. Don't get me wrong. Like negativity sells as well, especially in the world of football. But just look at Man City at the moment. It's one of the reasons it's so funny and gets so much engagement is because of just the sheer capitulation of like what should be a title-winning team. But like there are a lot of positives from today. I just don't want. I just hope it doesn't breed an overconfidence that means we go into a game and get battered 5-0 again. Yeah. But at the same time, it looks like it doesn't matter either way.
But that's fine. All right, I've got a few more talking points to bring up with you. But first, a message from our partners at the Global Sports Podcast Network.
The Global Sports Podcast Network is changing the face of football podcasting with dedicated daily content for every Premier League team, women's football, fantasy football, and a daily Premier League wrap-up broadcasted in 5 different languages. This is your one-stop shop for your daily football fix. Find GSPN wherever you find your usual podcasts.
So yeah, you're right about like negativity selling, and like it's hard when you're on a losing streak like we have been. It's hard to sort of pull yourself out of that funk. So hopefully, it's just a case of getting that winning feeling back, knowing what that feels like, and we can kick on and get something from it. We've not got the easiest 2 fixtures. I joke about Man United, but of course they're actually coming into a decent bit of form. We've got Newcastle at the weekend as well, so it's not going to be easy, but hopefully we can just start pushing on and getting something. But I want to talk about, we've got Burnley in the next round. So is that an exciting fixture, or are we going to see another half-empty St Mary's, do you think?
I think that we always historically don't do well against Burnley. I like Burnley were one of the team when Carl Walker-Peters had his debut. My wife came with me to watch that game, and it was a 2-0 loss to Burnley in the rain. And like it's that joke from the Inbetweeners where no one likes Burnley. That's not true. I quite like Burnley, but yeah, we always seem to struggle against them. So it'll be interesting to see because that would be a bigger test of than what Swansea have provided. However, not quite the test of like playing a Liverpool. So who knows? Hopefully, it would be a good game. We could probably put a shift in. We have to have, I guess, something to look forward to. As I said, like I might not be
a bit of a welcome distraction at this point, right?
I might not be the most
detriment us challenging for Europe, is it? So
I might not be the most like locked into the FA Cup as I think maybe yourself is, and then like there's probably quite a few other people that care about it. Like as I said, it's just my own personal thing. I'm just not as fussed as probably I should be. But at the same time, if it's something positive around the club and it's something good and something decent and something everyone can enjoy, then I'm all for it. And I think Burnley is one of the teams that we probably have a better chance against, right? Of what we could have had. I'd have preferred maybe Stoke, but here we are.
Yeah, some other tasty cup ties to talk about before I loop it back to some final Saints bits. Leeds Millwall. Wouldn't want to be a copper working that.
Sounds atrocious. Yeah, you're right.
And Plymouth Liverpool. A bit of a trip to Plymouth for Liverpool. That might be one of the longest journeys in the Football League, right?
That's fine. You just take a boat at this point. Probably quicker. Fair play to Plymouth. And again, like this is where the overconfidence comes in, right? You beat Southampton 5-0 and then you lose 1-0 to Plymouth, a team that are probably close to relegation from the Championship.
Yeah.
But then also it turns out this is all you need to do. Like maybe the new manager bounce didn't happen for us as much because a lot of the club's fan base actually liked Russell Martin, whereas I feel most of Plymouth like were happy to get rid of Wayne Rooney, a man who was trying to bring in the same documentary film crew who filmed the Wagatha Christie stuff to film a relegation battle documentary, and then realised that it was getting so bad that it was distracting the players. So then didn't do that and then got fired. Like,
so good.
Maybe they're quite happy to not have him there, and then that made them bounce onto a win.
And perhaps the most storied draw from the fourth round that I can think of, Ruud van Nistelrooy's Leicester travelling to Old Trafford.
Yeah, it's interesting considering,
poetic. Football loves a bit of poetry, and what kind of an amazing fixture is that? That's should be an interesting game. Okay, so to loop back to us, Armel Bella Kotchap conspicuous by his absence today.
I think I pointed out to you. I find I don't understand what the point of having those sort of conversations that go out into the media are about. Oh yeah, he's got a new chance. I've seen a lot under him. I can't wait for him to come and play. This, that, and the other. He's like, yeah, I'm going to fight really hard because I want to earn my place back in the team because I want to get into a top 4 club, and then doesn't make the bench of an FA Cup game despite the fact that apparently he isn't injured. Which says to me one of two things: either he's fallen out with somebody behind the scenes. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert.
Perhaps again.
The other thing that I can, the only other thing I can really think of is that potentially he's got a transfer lined up and they want to keep him fresh for the medical. Like, I know that's very big speculation, but for me, all of the signs pointed to him supposedly getting at least an appearance from the bench, right? And we ended up with Nathan Wood coming on like for Jan, which was fine. Like, he did a good job, but yeah, it was very strange to me. I will also point out we managed to have the return of Will Smallbone for the first game since October. Glad to see him back and fit and I guess ready to play a part in what is going to be the rest of a long season.
Yeah, I mean, midfield is a position we're very short in, so it's good to have some level of rotation back. And if he is being played in a position that suits his ability in the middle of the park, there's definitely a place in this team for Will Smallbone. I don't think that any of the places we've seen him try to be played under Russell Martin are those places, but he's not a number 8. He's not a Flynn Downs replacement. He's not physical enough for that. But I can see him swapping in for that sort of Aribo role just fine.
I just want to point out how well and diplomatic you handled that situation there, Greg.
Yeah.
Very proud of you for that.
I like Smallbone. I don't necessarily think he's a Premier League quality player, or he's yet to show that, but I like him. And he's a homegrown talent, and what more can you ask for, really?
I think that's a problem whenever you're examining the lives and careers of people, is that you can have a opinion on the way that they play that is not necessarily a reflection of our personal feelings of people that we don't actually know. And sometimes I feel like after some of the reactions to some of the FA Cup results today and some of the vitriol I've seen, because unfortunately I have to be on the Everything app, it is quite disheartening to see that there is quite a lot of that still in a small minority of fan bases, right? So I just want to make sure it's on paper that whenever we're criticizing these people, it's for how we see them play football, right? Like, that's it.
100%.
But diplomatically handled, Greg. Very proud of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
We won a game though.
We won.
That's the positive.
That's it. Another week we can talk about fantastic performances, I guess. Okay performances. Look, we won, and that's what matters. And hopefully, we can take that forward and just not be as bad as Derby in the Premier League. That's all we're aiming for at this point.
The entire goal at this point. Yeah. And if by some sort of crazy miracle, Sulemana turns into our star striker, and all of the Onuachu stuff drops down, and all of a sudden we're saved by hat trick after hat trick after hat trick. We're all here for that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. It has been pointed out to me that I did predict us to finish 12th at the start of the season. And at this point, actually, 12 points does feel optimistic. So,
look, you've got to have the optimism, because if not, it would just be me talking about how miserable I am on a weekly basis, and that would be absolutely nothing to tune in for.
Mate. Well, we're going to go into another week happy, and I think next week we're going to come out happy as well. I think we've something stirring at St Mary's, so hopefully it's good. Well, that is just about all we got time for. So thank you very much for joining us, Zach. As always, thank you for joining me. It's been a pleasure. We will be back tomorrow when we wrap up. We try and fill 20 minutes with Transfer Tuesday of maybe the quietest transfer window I've ever experienced.
Here is hoping that all of it's going to come out tomorrow. It turns out they were waiting for the Swansea game to be out of the way, and now all of the information's going to come out of the club of all of the targets, or alternatively, everyone's going to go off on loan.
Otherwise, we're just going to have a really detailed breakdown of our 2 new signings' performance in the under-21 game on Friday.
You're not
wrong. We look forward to seeing you then. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.